Summary: Tang Sanzang embarks on his journey to the west to obtain scriptures. Along the way, he reaches the Five Elements mountain and removes the seal, thereby rescuing Sun Wukong. Wukong, following Guanyin's orders, accompanies Tang Sanzang on the quest for scriptures, but struggles with the restrictions placed upon him. The Dragon King of the Eastern Sea tells Wukong a story that helps him change his mindset. However, the two precious gifts that Guanyin bestowed upon Tang Sanzang lead to a series of trials for Wukong. Tang Sanzang, dressed in the robe bestowed by Guanyin and carrying his staff, continues his journey to the west to obtain scriptures. At this time, it is deep into autumn, and along the journey, they traverse mountains and cross ridges, traveling day and night. On this day, they arrive at the foot of a towering mountain, a mountain that reaches the heavens, steep and treacherous, the infamous Five Elements mountain. As they were considering which path to take, a thunderous voice rang out, "My master is here! My master is here!" The Tang monk, trembling with fear, found a crevice in the rocks, and there he saw a monkey sticking its head out, stretching its hand, and shouting frantically, "Master, why did you take so long? Hurry and rescue me, and I'll ensure you can journey to the western heaven to retrieve the scriptures." The Tang monk asked in astonishment, "Who are you, and how have I become your master?" The monkey replied, "I am the great sage equal to heaven who caused a ruckus in the heavenly palace 500 years ago. I was imprisoned here by the Buddha a few days ago. Guanyin Bodhisattva came and persuaded me to embrace Buddhism. She said that a pilgrim would pass by here soon, and I should protect him. If I do so, there will be rewards for me in the future." Hearing this, Sanzang was naturally pleased, but he wondered how he could rescue the monkey. The great sage asked him to remove the sign from the mountaintop. Tripitaka climbed to the mountaintop, panting heavily, and indeed saw a large stone with a sign posted on it. The sign had 6 shining golden characters. Sanzang knelt down, facing west, and prayed, "Disciple Zunzang is on a journey to the western heaven to obtain the scriptures. If there is a karmic connection between us as master and disciple, please allow me to remove this sign and save this monkey." Before the words had even finished, a gust of wind blew away the sign, and a voice from above said, "I am the one responsible for guarding the great sage. His sentence has been served, and I will report back to the Buddha." Sanzang quickly expressed his gratitude. Sanzang stepped back a bit, allowing the Monkey King to make his escape without fear. With a deafening roar, the mountain crumbled and split apart, and the Monkey King burst out from beneath it, free at last. The Monkey King had arrived at the horse's side before the monk, and he knelt down, saying, "Master, I'm out now, let's go." The monk gave the Monkey King a combined name, calling him Sun Shings, and the master and disciple continued their journey to the west. As they crossed the Five Elements mountain, a fierce tiger roared and charged towards them, causing the monk to tremble in fear. Sun Wukong swiftly transformed his ear into a golden-banded cudgel, and with a powerful swing, struck the tiger's head, instantly defeating the beast. Sun Wukong then conjured a sharp bull's ear knife and expertly skinned the tiger. Wrapping the tiger's skin around his waist, he asked the master, "Master, how does it look?" The monk had been standing there, utterly astonished. With pride, the Monkey King said, "Master, I can subdue dragons, tame tigers, overturn rivers and seas. Killing a tiger is nothing. In the future, you'll see my incredible abilities." The Tang monk was overjoyed to have such a disciple, feeling much more at ease on their journey. In the blink of an eye, it was already early winter. One day, as the master and disciple were walking along the road, 6 ruffians suddenly appeared. They brandished long spears and short swords and shouted loudly, "Hey, bald monk, give us some money or else." Sanzang fell off his horse, trembling with fear. Wukong quickly helped his master up and said, "Master, don't be afraid. They are just offering us some clothes and money." Wukong stepped forward, crossing his arms, and said, "6 petty thieves, dare to call yourselves sirs in front of me. I demand that you hand over the treasures you stole to this old monkey." The 6 big men were furious, brandishing their spears and swords, and rushed towards Wukong, aiming to strike him down. With a series of heavy blows, they struck Wukong dozens of times, but he didn't budge or get injured. The 6 men became frightened and wondered, "What kind of head is this? It's so hard." Wukong grinned and, while taking the golden banded staff from his ear, he said, "You little rascals, take a good look at my needle here." With a flick in the wind, it transformed into a bowl-sized thickness. As soon as he lifted it, the 6 men turned and ran away. Wukong caught up to them and one by one, he struck them down with his staff. Wukong approached, stripped the clothes off the bandits, and collected their belongings. He returned to his master with a smile on his face. To the master's surprise, his expression changed. "You acted recklessly," he said. "Even though they were bandits, there was no need to kill them. This is not how a monk should behave." Wukong exclaimed, "Master, if I didn't kill them, they would have killed you." Sanzang replied, "You've taken 6 lives, and if the authorities were to learn of this, you'd be in serious trouble." Wukong sneered, "500 years ago, I don't know how many people I've defeated, and they've all judged me like this. I don't care anymore." Sanzang said, "That's why you'll have to endure the punishment of being crushed beneath the 5 elements mountain. With your behavior, how can you journey to the west to retrieve the scriptures?" With his patience wearing thin, Wukong tried to endure, but he couldn't take it anymore when Sanzang continued to complain and scold him. He stamped his foot and exclaimed, "If master doesn't value me, I'm leaving." Wukong finished speaking and with a whoosh, he leaped away. Sanzang hurriedly looked up, but Wukong had already disappeared without a trace. Alone in the desolate wilderness, Sanzang felt both fearful and angry. He muttered to himself, "That unruly monkey. I scolded him a few times, and he just left like this." Sigh. Perhaps it wasn't meant to be that I should have such a disciple. Having sighed and lamented, Sanzang, with one hand holding the horse's reins and the other gripping his staff, continued his lonely journey towards the west. At a mountain crossroad, he encountered an elderly woman holding a cotton garment adorned with a golden threaded flower-patterned hat. Approaching, the old woman asked in astonishment, "Where are you from, venerable monk? And where are you headed?" How is it that you don't have a disciple with you? Sanzang sighed deeply and explained his background and the recent incident to the old woman. The old woman smiled faintly, handed the woolen robe and flowered hat to Sanzang and said, "Your disciple will return someday. When he comes back, make sure he wears this robe and hat. I will also teach you a mantra called the tightening spell. When he misbehaves again, recite this mantra to control him." The old woman recited the incantation, and Sanzang silently memorized it. Having realized that the old woman was most likely Guanyin Bodhisattva, Sanzang quickly gathered some soil and burned incense to pay his respects in the eastern direction. Then he sat by the roadside, repeatedly reciting the tightening spell until he had mastered it. Continuing the story, Sun Wukong, in his anger, returned to Flower Fruit Mountain. He first went to the eastern sea, and when the Dragon King heard about it, he hurriedly came out to welcome him. Wukong explained to the Dragon King the events that had transpired. He told him how Guanyin had persuaded him to do good and accompany Tang Sanzang to the west to retrieve the scriptures. He also recounted the altercation he had with his master, Tang Sanzang, and how he had decided to leave him. The Dragon King, after listening to Wukong's account, remained silent for a moment and then said, "Let me tell you a story about the 3 visits to the Bridge of No Return. It was during the Han Dynasty, and there was a great general named Zhang Liang. One day, as he was walking on a bridge, he encountered an immortal named Huan Shigong, who intentionally dropped one of his shoes into the river below. Huan Shigong asked Zhang Liang to retrieve his shoe, and Zhang Liang hurriedly went down the bridge to pick it up. He then knelt down and presented the shoe to Huan Shigong. Huan Shigong, intending to test him, threw his shoe down 3 times in a row. Zhang Liang remained patient and picked up the shoe each time, showing no signs of anger or impatience. As a result, Huan Shigong gave Zhang Liang a celestial book and appointed him to assist the Han Dynasty. Indeed, Zhang Liang went on to become a renowned military strategist, playing a crucial role in various battles and campaigns. After bringing peace to the land, Zhang Liang retired from his official position and retreated to the mountains to cultivate the path of immortality. Upon finishing his story, Monkey King entered a state of contemplation. The Dragon King then gently spoke, "Great sage, if you only seek your own freedom and do not protect Tang Sanzang or heed teachings, you will never attain enlightenment. In the end, you remain a demon and will never achieve true virtue." Monkey King, upon hearing this, waved his hand and said, "No need to say more. I will go and protect Tang Sanzang." He leaped out of the East Sea, mounted his cloud, and set off in pursuit of his master. As Guanyin Bodhisattva approached, even before speaking, Sun Wukong hurriedly paid his respects in the clouds, saying, "Bodhisattva, your wise words have enlightened me. Tang Sanzang has saved my life, and I now understand my wrongdoings. I will go and protect him." Bodhisattva spoke slowly. "This is the right path. Go quickly and do not delay. Do not miss the appointed time." Sun Wukong pursued for a while and then saw his master sitting dejectedly at the side of the road. Sun Wukong hurriedly descended to apologize. Sanzang said, You heartless monkey, you left me here. And now I'm hungry and thirsty. Open the bag and give me some dry rations. Wukong opened the bag and saw the cotton robe and the flowered hat. Wukong asked, "Master, were these clothes and hat brought from the east?" Sanzang replied, "These were the clothes I wore when I was young. When you put on this hat, you don't need to be taught scriptures. You can recite them. When you wear this robe, you don't need to learn rituals. You can perform them." Given Monkey's temperament, he couldn't resist trying them on when he saw them, so he decided to put them on, and Sanzang calmly watched him do so. Monkey wore them, and they fit perfectly, as if they were made for him. Unbeknownst to him, Sanzang started to chant the spell quietly. Monkey immediately cried out, "Oh, oh, my head hurts, my head hurts." Sanzang kept on reciting, and Monkey, in pain, rolled on the ground, frantically pulling off the flowered hat with both hands. Afraid that Monkey would break the golden circlet, the master stopped chanting and Monkey's pain subsided. He reached up to touch the golden band on his head, which was now tightly rooted in place. Monkey tried to pull the needle out from his ear and yanked it vigorously against the circlet. Sanzang began chanting the mantra again, and this time, Sun Wukong writhed in pain, contorting his body, turning somersaults, with a flushed face, swollen eyes, and a numb body. Sanzang stopped chanting, and Sun Wukong's pain subsided. It was then that he realized, so it was Master's incantation. Sanzang said, "In the future, if you misbehave again, I will chant this incantation." Wukong's eyes lit up, and he replied, "Disciple won't dare again." When Sanzang turned away, Wukong quickly pulled out his golden banded staff and aimed it at Tripitaka, ready to strike. Sanzang, hearing the wind sound, hastily recited the spell, causing Wukong's hand to go limp, and he dropped the iron staff. Wukong, helpless, knelt down and pleaded, "Master, please don't recite it anymore. I promise to obey you from now on. I won't resist anymore." Sanzang finally stopped reciting the spell. From then on, Wukong wholeheartedly protected Sanzang on their journey to the west to obtain the scriptures. In the blink of an eye, it was already December, and the bitter cold of winter had set in, with a piercing north wind. On this day, the master and disciple arrived at a stream, and it happened to be the snake-coiling mountain's Eagle brook. The master reined in his horse to observe, and he saw the water in the stream churning and frothing, its sound echoing through the secluded valley. As the master and disciple were about to cross the river, suddenly, there was a loud crashing sound, and a dragon emerged from the water. It churned up the waves and rushed towards Tang Sanzang. Sun Wukong acted swiftly, and in the blink of an eye, he lifted his master off the horse and fled. The dragon couldn't catch up and ended up swallowing the white horse, along with its saddle and bridle. Sun Wukong placed his master on a high mound and returned to retrieve their belongings. However, both the horse and the dragon were nowhere to be found, leaving only their luggage. Sun Wukong whistled and leaped into the air. He shielded his eyes from the sun's glare with his hand. Activating his fiery gaze, he scanned the surroundings in all directions. Sun Wukong returned and told the master. Sanzang began to weep, saying, "Oh, what a pity! With these countless rivers and mountains ahead, And now our horse is gone. How will I continue our journey? Wukong, seeing his master in such distress, said, Master, don't worry. Let me go find that dragon and get our horse back. Sanzang in his anxiety grabbed hold of Monkey's robe and said, My disciple, I fear that if you leave, that dragon might come back secretly and harm both of us. Wukong, in anger, said, My dear master, you are being unreasonable. You want the horse, yet you won't let me go. Are we supposed to sit here forever? Wukong was about to sit down in frustration when a voice from above said, Great sage son, don't be angry. And Tang Sanzang, stop crying. We are a group of divine beings sent by Guanyin Bodhisattva to secretly protect the one on the journey to obtain the scriptures. Upon hearing this, Tang Sanzang hastily paid his respects, and Sun Wukong asked, Who among you is here? Please reveal yourselves so that I may know your names. The gods replied, We are the 6 Ding and 6 Jia, the 5 Fan Chia, the 4 Zigong Kao, and the 18 guardians of the law, each taking turns to serve and protect you on different days. Monkey said, Very well. You all watch over my master. I'll go search for that river dragon in the stream and make him return our horse. With that, the monk finally felt relieved, wiped away his tears, and once again reminded Monkey to be careful. Great Monkey King, with his tiger skin kilt flapping, his golden banded staff twirling, and his spirit renewed, leaped into the air and soared away. To find out what happens next, stay tuned for the next installment.